My mother-in-law has never liked me.
My husband was in the middle of talking to me. I wanted to look at him.
We got married at 18. He had his first deployment, and the day that he got back...
My husband has taken the steps that he needs to work on his own personal trauma. So
I just mean we're not gonna have many people at the hospital.
Before we get into this video, this is a trigger warning. Please read what's in front of me. I will give you guys about 5 seconds. This video will not be for everybody, so proceed with caution or just skip, and I'll see you guys next week. Please, please, and thank you. This is my ex-mother-in-law who just recently spent hours calling me "y'all see the word" because I'm a survivor. YouTube censorship, y'all. And she already had been informed that she is to not come to my house or talk to me. This isn't the first incident. Ring came through, recorded the entire incident, and tries to say something again until she sees the camera and looks dead at it and walks away.
Grab your vest up.
She has gloves and ramen noodles in there.
All right, thank you.
And I didn't even read your last 2 messages. And when Friday, when I said I was going to come over here, it wasn't like to fight or anything. Like, I think you should be able to talk like a woman. Why can't
Call me
you?
Brady. Have a good night. 2 seconds, I'm going to call the cops. Have a good night. I'm not doing this to my daughter. Have a good night. Have a good night. Have a good night.
We are.
Yeah. Misery truly loves company, and a lot of people are miserable. How are you, for one, just as a human being, going to bully somebody and call them that awful, disgusting word? As a woman, how are you gonna look at another woman in the face and call them that word? I don't even think those are fighting words. I don't even want to say what I'm thinking those words are. But the best way to go about this is a restraining order, no contact, something. Get her away from you and get her away from your kids. I have questions for your husband, but I'm not trying to assume.
My mother-in-law has never liked me.
Oh,
and before I
gosh.
learned to set boundaries with her, here is one of the things that she said after I flew her out from Wisconsin to come and visit her son
You
and I.
spent your
in
money on her.
Washington. We planned a fun family barbecue and invited over some of our closest friends, and she had the libations flowing and thought that it was appropriate to, for some reason, tell one of our closest friends that she hoped that if I ever got pregnant with my husband's child, her grandchild, that I would have a miscarriage. I don't know what kind of person thinks that saying that to anybody is appropriate, let alone something that would be their own flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And also to someone that they really don't know and who is very close with us. Unfortunately, her saying that was not the straw that broke the camel's back, where I resulted in setting boundaries with her and drawing a hard line in the sand. And it probably should have been. Had I set boundaries with her at that point, it would have saved me years and years of heartache with her.
Yeah. I can never understand hating your son's wife to the point of wishing them something as disturbing. A relationship from your son is very different from the relationship your son has with their wife. There is never going to be some of a competition. The wife is always going to be first. Some mothers can't get that through their heads. I don't understand it. It reminds me of when I did the boy mom video and some people were triggered and supporting the boy moms and calling me a hater. If that means I'm a hater, then call me that all you want. If this video is gonna trigger you and have you calling me a hater of mother-in-laws, then that's exactly what you can call me. I'm not even mad at it. Matter of fact, I'm disappointed at you because you can't see the red flags. If anything, you're the problem in this situation if you don't see the red flags in just these 2 freaking clips that I've just played.
What's the worst thing your mother-in-law has said to you?
Oh boy.
So I was married to a military guy. We got married at 18. He had his first deployment, and the day that he got back, he got off the ship, hugged me, and I found out that my mom died. My mom and I were best friends. It was really, really hard for me, and his mom kept calling. So I told her, hey, he's gonna have to call you back. Like, I just found out some bad news about my mom. Like, he'll call you back. She proceeds to tell me that she's his mom and she could die at any time and that she demands to talk to him. So I hang up because I'm like, I've got too much stuff to deal with. We didn't know what to do. I was 19. It was a mess, right? She leaves me a 3-minute voicemail telling me how disrespectful and selfish I was for not allowing her to talk to her son the day that he got back from deployment, and that as his mother, she demands respect, and that nobody was worried about my mother passing.
And that nobody was worried about your mother passing? So the mother-in-law knew, which means the son may have called before and told the mother-in-law, because why would she say that line if the call wasn't made? So I did go back and yeah, the son had called. I guess, I don't know, before he landed. I don't know. But she said in the comment section that it was just a roller coaster. It was nothing good that came out of the mother-in-law. Regardless of if the son had called or not, the fact that you put a voicemail that says no one cares about the passing of your mother, are you okay? Are you okay up there? This girl was 18, 19, lost her mother, and instead of being a mother to her, you decided to be a piece of y'all know what. A piece of doo-doo.
I'm going to review my own video. So I don't like dementia, Donna, my mother-in-law.
Oh, gosh.
And this may not have seemed like a big deal, and I guess in the grand scheme of the wedding, it honestly wasn't, but it was just another thing that happened during that day that honestly just hurt my feelings, right? And it took the attention away from what we were doing to bring it back to her, right? Because when she did turn around, she was screaming. And it was very much like people started to look at her. And I just wanted to have that special cake cutting moment without hearing her voice, honestly. This was really the part that got to me, because vows are supposed to be sacred and mostly just uninterrupted. I went to a wedding recently. My friends got married, and during their vows, even though one of them was crying, nobody dared to stand up to give them a tissue. And the fact that she had to stand up and move her body was another thing. My husband was in the middle of talking to me. I wanted to look at him. I wanted to see the emotion in his eyes. I did not want to see his mother get up. And then the attention was taken away from us, and it was back to her, because people had to make a little chuckle at her. And it was also weird. He's a grown man. He doesn't need his mother to hand him a tissue. And it was obnoxious. It was stealing the attention. He started his vows with saying that, a man leaves his mother and father and clings to his wife. So obviously...
She did not. I'm not going to be that person who's like, oh, she was just giving her son her... No. I'm not in your shoes. And I know how mother-in-laws can be. Thank God mine was never like that. But I've seen it for myself. And everybody else is going to paint you out to be crazy when you know what you're feeling, as well as the rest of your side of the family knows that that mother is crazy, wants the attention, is jealous.
So I know your due date is next week, and I just want you to know, call me immediately, okay? Make sure you call me. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
This won't age well.
That won't be necessary. I appreciate it, though. What is that supposed to mean?
Uh-oh.
I just mean we're not going to have many people at the hospital. So it won't be necessary for you to come. We'll call you and let you know when we're ready for visitors afterwards, though. So you don't want me in the room? And what do you mean so other people are going to be in the room? Well, yeah, my husband, obviously, your son, and my mom. My mom will be in there. So your mom can witness the birth of my grandchild, but I can't.
Gosh.
It's not so much witnessing the birth as being there for me.
Being there for her daughter. Yes.
I would just really like to have my mother's comfort while I'm going through that. She said that she's not even going to hold the baby. She's just going to be there for me, and then she's going to step out of the room. So, yeah, I need her there. Absolutely not. If I cannot be in the room, then no one else needs to be in the room. That's only fair.
Ooh.
Absolutely not. Well, that's not up to you. I'm sorry. Well, I'll just see what my son has to say about this then. Yeah, go right ahead. And he'll tell you the same thing.
And he better
It is
tell
up
you
to
the
me.
same thing.
So whenever he gets spread eagle up on a table to push a human out of his body,
You can be
he can
there.
decide who's in the room. And he knows that. So have a good one.
If you have a similar story to that and you don't mind sharing it on the comment section, do so. I do have a question. How would it make you feel if you just gave birth and the grandparent or grandparent-in-law, whatever, takes your baby from out your hands and starts calling your baby their baby? I've seen a lot of different opinions when it comes to this. I'm going to hold my opinion because I really want to know how you feel about it. Are you a person who's like, no, that's my baby, I need the grandparent to stop calling them theirs? Or are you the, it is not that deep, but it also depends on the relationship you guys have? And then the whole being in the delivery room, just spill it. If you're comfortable, let me know all the details. I just have to know. Confronting my husband about what my mother-in-law did.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
I'm so mad right now. I'm shaking.
What? What happened?
When your mom dropped the baby off.
What did your mom do?
Oh,
Your
gosh.
mom dropped the baby off. She got the baby's ears pierced.
What do you mean?
There's
What do you
too
mean
many dang
pierced?
stories about this.
Yeah, no. They're pierced, like pierced. Did you tell her to do that? Did she ask you?
No.
I'm livid. I never want to see your mom again. Well, she's not seeing the baby ever again. Not unsupervised.
Well, I'll call her. I'll call her right now.
I don't care.
Yeah, just let me call her.
The amount of audacity some grandparents have. I've seen countless of stories of grandparents giving the baby Tylenol or ibuprofen, whatever you want to call it, after the parents had said to not give it to the baby. I've seen grandparents shave the baby's hair off without the consent of the parents. I've seen grandparents pierce the baby's ears without the child. What is going on? And 9 times out of 10, the excuse is, well, we did it for you and you never had an issue. This is not your baby. The skulls are so thick, they can't get anything past it. They take offense when you tell them that they can't do that with your child. It's an issue for them. Okay, this one I thought was very interesting. Things that my mother-in-law said to me after I gave birth, and I'm just gonna read it out. You guys can go to the page if you want confirmation. Don't trust people on the internet. I did screenshot though. I won't put it in because it has the baby's face. The mother-in-law said, I don't like the day when my baby was born. You need to change it to the day which I like. So she doesn't like the birth date of the child and wants it switched. First comments, my mother-in-law said I didn't have my baby quick enough and left town before meeting her. She also picked the induction date based on her schedule. And then the creator said, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Honestly, that feels like she did everybody a favor. Deuces to her. My mother-in-law can't even talk to me. She's blocked permanently. Whatever she has to say to her son. Protect your peace. And Julia said, I'm thinking about to do it. LOL. She's thinking about doing it. Mine was surprised me and my son made it through childbirth. She brought my ex. Okay. Cut her off completely. 110% cut her off. Mine walked in and my husband was in a chair holding our child and she said, I thought you gave birth already. What's that tummy under that blanket? The audacity to say that to you after you gave birth. I'm sorry. Yeah. What trips me out more is that these are women. Not saying men should say this because then I'd really go crazy. But these are women that have given birth, that know that labor is not easy. And they're saying all of this crap. How do they expect you to change the day when your baby was born? She said, change it in the birth certificate because I don't like this number. If you don't, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna calm down. Mine told me she hated the middle name we picked. Oh well, we're still using it. That's your choice how to name your baby. It pissed me off to hear that they hated the names. My mother-in-law got mad I didn't want her over the first week to help us out. She already met the baby and I just wanted to heal in peace. She went nuts. On time is more important than having her around. She can go nuts in her own house. My mother-in-law is having a tough time being told she can't kiss the baby. I'm being induced Sunday and will throw hands if she tries. It is number one rule here. Don't kiss the baby. If someone doesn't like it, it's their problem, LOL. Mine brought me large size clothes and said, don't worry, you'll lose the weight and be skinny.
Brother,
Can you just tag your mother-in-law? Just for like a split second. Like you can just give us the little, you don't even have to give us her last name. Just give us a photo and her first name because I bet you she's on Facebook. I had emergency C-section and was put to sleep and my mother-in-law posted pictures of my daughter to social media before I had even met. I truly don't think there's one story crazier than the other when it comes to people's experiences. I always see people saying, well, I have a crazier story. They're just the same crazy. If that's what you're dealing with, that's your own crazy. If that's what this person's dealing with, that's their own crazy. There is no level. This is not the battle of the craziest stories. But my goodness.
Want to know the best part of having a super crazy, toxic mother-in-law?
Gosh, tell us.
It's her birthday. So obviously, I don't participate in her birthday celebrations. So that means my husband picked up both kids from school and took them over to have dinner with his mother, and the gift and everything. And I get the entire house to myself on a school night, and don't have to make anybody dinner. So that's the best part of having a toxic mother-in-law. It does have its perks.
A win is a win. A win is a win. The best thing to do if it's not harming your kids is to just ignore the mother-in-law. Now, obviously, it depends on the situation. If it's just petty little things, ignoring her will drive her insane. I would just say don't deal with it in general, but I'm just telling y'all, giving y'all the juice, giving y'all the tea. Not from my experience, but definitely from what I've seen around me.
Daughter-in-law step on your toes, and sometimes you just step right back.
Sorry, but what toes? Unless you were trying to be like intimate partners with your son.
Are you?
There are no toes to be stepped on because you are not equal in the hierarchy. You are secondary. And so unless your advice is like how to cope with becoming a secondary person in your son's life, it's bad advice. And unless you have some sort of psychological degree, which like from your profile, it doesn't really look like it, I feel like you're just enabling toxic mother-in-law behavior in a way that's like incels for mothers-in-law. Also, this is the most privileged piece of advice I've ever seen anyone give in my entire life. Like, no, you don't have to love trauma, and that's gaslighting, which I imagine this whole profile is just going to be. I'm just convinced you're a troll.
I need your help. I need you guys to tell me if I'm in the wrong,
All right.
if I'm overreacting. My husband and I have been together for 17 years now.
Mm-hmm.
When I came into this marriage, I had a 1-year-old daughter from a previous relationship.
Okay.
My daughter's father didn't want anything to do with me or my daughter. So I met another man 17 years ago. My husband has taken my daughter in as his own daughter, okay? Like most relationships, like normal marriages, my husband and I have been through our fair share of ups and downs.
Okay.
Last year was probably the worst year that we have experienced in our marriage.
Oh gosh.
We have since then gone through counseling. We've gotten help. My husband has gotten his own help, and he's really been working on himself. Because granted, neither one of us have been complete angels during this marriage, but my husband has taken the steps that he needs to work on his own personal trauma.
Okay.
So anyway, for some reason, a little bit of a backstory. My parents have never really liked my husband. So when my husband and I were going through our rough patch, I did take the kids and spend some time back home with my parents. And so during the few days that I was with my parents, they expressed to me their concern, obviously their concern, their displeasure with my husband, telling me how he was no good, all this other stuff. Anyway, like I said, my husband worked on what he had to work on. I ended up coming back home to my husband. And my parents told my daughter, who is now 17 years old, that my current husband is not her real father. Now, granted, my husband and I, were going to tell my daughter this on our own when we felt like the time was right. And we felt that news should have come from us. But my mother took it upon herself to tell my daughter that the man that she has known as her father is not actually
that
her
was
father.
Not her place.
And my mom told her that out of spite. Should I be mad?
Yeah.
But not only that, my husband and I decided that we should relocate to a different state. We've decided to move to New Mexico, and we want to be closer to my husband's son, who obviously I've also been in his life for the majority of his life, and his son now has a daughter. So we just want to be closer to his son, our grandchild, and my parents, but mostly my mom, has been upset about this. She's upset that we're moving, and she took to Facebook and made a Facebook post, a public Facebook post, ranting and raving, saying how I've chosen men over my children. And I am just wondering, do you think I'm in the wrong? Do you think I'm overreacting about this?
No.
If you want me to share your personal stories during one of my story times, during a step-parent, co-parent story time, let me know, slide in my DMs, and tell me your story that you want me to share for you.
From what I'm understanding, this is her sharing somebody else's story time. I personally feel like it is never anybody's place but the parents to tell them if the child is either adopted, the child is a stepchild. The moving, you're not crazy. Whoever that story was from, you're not crazy, okay? Your mother is your husband's toxic mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law filed for custody of my children after babysitting them once. And I do mean one time. I don't really like my mother-in-law, so I don't let her watch the kids pretty much ever. We had to go to a doctor's appointment last week. I had to go to the doctor, and my husband needed to come with me. So we left the kids at my mother-in-law's house. Come to find out, she has just filed for custody of them, claiming that she has them all the time and we don't take care of our kids. She babysat them one time. And now she's filing for custody, saying that we are unfit parents, that we have abandoned our children at her house, that we don't feed them nor clothe them. Gosh, I don't know how they've survived this long. I mean, seriously. She says that they are malnourished, that they don't go to a doctor, that they have cavities rotting out of their head, their teeth are falling out. These are all the claims that she made. I have all their medical records. I have proof they go to the dentist every single year, twice a year. Even my toddler goes to the dentist. And I asked her about it. I went to her and I said, what are you doing?
Why?
And she goes, well, you don't let me see them enough. So this is the only way I'm ever going to get to see my grandbabies.
I'm genuinely curious why people do this, why mother-in-laws do this. If you're a toxic mother-in-law and you don't mind sharing why you're toxic, please let me know, because I don't want to come up with assumptions that are already in my head about why these sort of women do the things that they do. So please save me the headache. Save me a video where I just full on rant about the possibilities of why you're toxic. So if you're toxic and you're a mother-in-law, please let me know why.